Peace, family. I hope everybody's having a phenomenal day so far. I have a awesome discussion for y'all today. A discussion that I had with my boy Adrian Lozano on the subject of being an empath. Okay, it's a very good discussion. We didn't just talk about what it means to be an empath, but we threw a little bit of a spin on it because we're both men. Okay, so it's not just being an empath, but what it also means to be an empath and be a male at the same time, and just the type of things that go along with that entire scenario. So we have a very good discussion for you. I want y'all to stay tuned, but before we get into it, I wanted to make a quick intro video because the discussion was so good and we just got right into it. We didn't even officially announce what the definition of an empath is, right? So before we get into it, what is an empath? Okay. An empath is somebody who has a supernatural, overwhelming ability to feel the emotions of other people outside of yourself. Okay. And sometimes they can be so strong that you might confuse other people's emotions as your own emotions, and things to that nature. So that's what an empath is. It's somebody who is highly sensitive. You can be highly intuitive, where you just know things and you can feel things about other people. And we're gonna go down that entire rabbit hole. So pay attention if you have any questions or anything like that, or if you can vibe with this video. Please leave a comment. Feel free to subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. And yeah, hope you all enjoy the show. Talk soon. Peace.
Does it?
All right, what's going on, bro?
Hey, man, how's it
Hey, good, man. Thanks for having me, man. I know me and Adrian, we had met a little while ago, and we were talking about being empaths and that whole deal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I hadn't really met another male empath either, man. I think you're like the first guy that I talked to, and pretty much had a kind of intimate conversation about the different things about being an empath and the hurdles, the ups and downs, and then like even learning how to tune into your gift and all that good stuff, man.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think I realized that there are more female empaths only because they're in touch more with their emotional side, and that is what being an empath is being in touch with your emotions and with other people's emotions. So it's not something as males that we're taught to do. And even me, it was like a struggle, like figuring out what I was, and then like be like, why am I so emotional? But then I could feel someone else's emotion. So yeah, when I met you, I was like, holy shit,
Yeah,
another empath, and then you're a male. So it was like really cool to like connect on that level.
yeah, most definitely, man, most definitely. And it's not like when you're younger and you're trying to figure things out. We didn't even have a lot of information that was talking about this stuff. You know, and I mean, me, I don't think that I would have. I don't think that I would have been in the right mind. Oh, that's you. Oh, that's you.
Yeah.
Look, we got some callers already, bro. Look, we must got some folks interested, right?
Uh,
Folks are tuning in. Yeah. Well, nah, what I was saying is, I don't even think I would have been the right, I guess, frequency to like even receive or understand that information, because, just my background, growing up in a religious family and church and things of that nature, you're very restricted to things that are outside of the Christian doctrine and things of that nature. So yeah, man, but you still use your experiences to navigate. You're thankful for your experiences because eventually you arrive to where you need to be.
yeah, and I can relate to you on that, but I come from a Catholic background, but also like a Latino background where it's like very like
Yeah,
conservative and like very like you don't think about other than things like other than the church. So it was kind of a struggle for me too, and I can relate to you on that sense where like yeah, is like you don't look into other modalities or other things. You kind of just it is what it is, and it was what it was kind of thing.
yeah, absolutely. I think another big thing about just being a male empath is, as men, we're taught, certain things growing up, like you got to be tough, big boys don't cry, and things of that nature. And you know it kind of like stifles you in your ability to not just express your emotions, but even to comprehend and process and just understand your emotions and things of that nature you know
Yeah, and I'll say even like what's really interesting that I've in the past I've had girlfriends that have told me, "Man, you're like more emotional than guys I've ever dated," and that only because then that's what I
Oh,
was like,
that could be
"Man,"
tough, man. Oh my goodness, that could be tough because they
yeah,
might look at you like you soft.
I'm like, is something wrong with me? Like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah,
was before I think when also I wasn't in tune with my emotions, which was like very like not I wasn't emotional like I would cry, just like I was just more emotional in general, but not like in a bad way, but just and I also didn't know how to tap into this gift that it really is, but I
yeah,
always thought it was a curse my whole life because it was
yeah,
like why do I go home with people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and like my friend doesn't give a fuck. It just go home and like doesn't bother them at all. But I'll get bothered and stay bothered for like days.
yeah. Because excuse me, because you naturally absorb it. You naturally absorb it, and that's the very frustrating part about it is that you can be you can be in a crowd of people, right, and you can feel all these different type of emotions like at the same time, and on the outside you're trying to manage it because you're you, so you know how to conduct yourself and carry your mask and things of that nature. um but inside you're feeling like all these emotions. And for me the biggest emotion that I felt a lot of being younger, like in my teenage years, was the anxiety, like being around like large groups of people and just that entire vibe, just feeling different emotions. But being able to leave out of that and still having those emotions and knowing what to do with it, yeah, that's very frustrating because, you have no idea what's going on, you know? So at what point in your life did you start to like learn information and start to manage how you were dealing with the emotions and things that come along with being an empath?
So kind of like with what you said about anxiety, I had the same thing, where at a point it was getting too strong for me. Like I would start to have really bad anxiety, and I wouldn't know what emotions were mine and what weren't. And then also I moved to a big city, to LA, where there's a lot of energy, a lot of emotions, a lot of things going on, and I just started feeling more anxiety. And for me at the time, my only coping mechanism was to do like to drink or to go out or to do things, and that just to kind of like I guess, cope with what I was feeling. And it kind of just started spiraling where I was like, okay, like this is not feeling good. And I guess something in me just told me that there's a better way to do it, of doing this, of handling my anxiety. Because then I had social anxiety and it just started getting worse and worse and worse. And I
Yeah,
think, I'm not sure what it was. I think like somehow I found some kind of information on the web that said something about being an empath. And right away that word just stuck to me. I'm like, wow, what is an empath? And then like I read about it. I'm like, that's me. Like that is totally me. Like all these things that I said, I was like, this is exactly what I am. And then I started like kind of reading about it and figuring out what it was, and then figuring out how to ground yourself as an empath and how to not, allow these emotions to take over you and to give you anxiety. So maybe it was around that time when like it started getting out of hand, where it started affecting me, where like being out was like too much for me, or being around too many people, or I would get drained. And then I just somehow on the web I found something about an empath, and then I was like, oh crap. Like once you read, I'm sure like you had that moment like when you read about what an empath was, you're like, that is
yeah,
me. You're like, that is like there's no question about it.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny how you were saying, things spiral out of control, because that's kind of similar to how my journey was. It brings you to the end of yourself in a sense. To the end of yourself, meaning, okay, this isn't working. So either I have to try something new or I'm going to self destruct, right? Um, my point of, I guess, awakening was when I decided to start to go into myself, instead of looking for things outside of me, let me start to like learn about things within me, so that I can get down to the root of it. And of course, when you start that journey, man, that's like Alice in Wonderland, bro, because you don't know where the heck you're going to end up, but you definitely go into some places. But what I like about it is that on your journey, it's sort of like you have all of these breadcrumbs in place, and like every step you're taking, it might seem very dark, but there's a breadcrumb right there. And that breadcrumb might be in the form of a book or a podcast or a Facebook post or a status or things to that nature, but something that you come across that is information that you've never heard before, and it's familiar at the same time, if that makes sense. It feels like home, right? So, you go down that path, and, for me, of course, dealing with being an empath, you come across information, such as the book you sent me, which I have to buy. That book is awesome, bro. What's the name of it? The Melanin Empath or something like that? Yeah.
That one seems really good. We have to read it. We both have to read it.
Yeah. We got to get back on here and talk about that, because that looks like it has some gems in it, bro. Most definitely. Yeah. But yeah, man, just experiencing, just embracing, embracing things inside of yourself, and instead of seeing it as a burden or a problem, so to speak, you do start to see the gift in it, and then you start to tap into it. And when you start to tap into it, then things really start to get fun. So yeah.
And that too, like just how you were saying about like getting in tune with yourself. That's kind of where it happened. So it happened where like I had to find a way out, but then instead of finding a way out, I found a way in. Like tuning into like meditation, yoga, like all this kind of stuff, and reading books. Yeah, reading books, podcasts, all this stuff that really allowed me to get to the discovery of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where my journey kind of started. And then it kind of like I had to do like a whole healing process.
Yeah.
And started healing. I was like, okay, and started working on myself and kept working. I'm always working on myself, but now I'm in this space where I'm able to use my abilities as a gift to help others get in touch with their emotions or whatever have like they're going on. So now I'm helping other people empower themselves. And that's really now I'm like really finding this joy of this gift that I have that before I thought was a curse, but now like I'm able to use it for the greater good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's what it's about, man. Just tapping into it and learning how to use it for other people, But here's the thing, man. Here's one thing that I've learned, and tell me about this. I think that people can share the same type of gift, but it's still unique for them. You know what I mean? Like a course like with me and you, we can both be empaths, but yeah, I think we can still function differently, according to maybe, I don't know, maybe your things like your soul, your soul plan, your soul journey, or maybe your personality. You might, throw your astrology sign in there and things of that nature. Just because you share the same gift, I think it might have different levels of individuality to it as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we all have our own flavor, and that's kind of like our own soup.
That's a simplified way of saying it, your flavor, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think, and it's cool. But like, so we're the same in that essence, but then we're still unique because
Right.
we're doing a different like flavor to it.
Yeah. One of the most important things that an empath can learn across the board, whether you're a male or female, is boundaries. Okay. Because being somebody who naturally absorbs emotions from people that you come into contact with, if you don't learn certain strategies of grounding yourself, as well as knowing the difference between what's yours, what's your emotions, and what's their emotions, that can really either set you up for failure or set you up for success.
And I'll say this, like the biggest thing for me was learning, like asking myself the question when I feel something, is this mine? And that was like huge. Like, is this mine? Like, what I'm feeling. And another thing, like today, for example, I hung out with like different groups of friends. It was like maybe like 3 groups of friends that I've seen today. But
Mm.
I knew going into this, I was like, okay, I'm going to hang out with 3 people. And also even do this podcast. So I knew in the beginning of the day, I set my intention and I kind of like cleanse myself and cleanse my energy. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what I'm going to do today. I'm going to hang out with different energies, but I'm going to be me and I'm not going to absorb anyone else's energy. I kind of say that mentally and then allow myself to like, just kind of like have that intention and have that kind of manifested like, okay, I'm not going to absorb it. I'm just going to be here. I'm going to be my truest self. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that takes a crazy level of self-awareness though, to be in tune with not only yourself but other people, and to just have that understanding that I can't I can't connect with certain environments or certain groups or certain types of people. Even if and not saying that you'll like never connect with them, right? Not saying that I gotta always cut them off, but it might just be for like certain seasons, or for like, like you said, maybe we're doing an event and okay, I need my energy patterns to be a certain way. So I gotta chill. I gotta chill for a minute, y'all. I can't come around for a while until I'm done with this, and then after that, we're good. But yeah, it definitely takes a certain level of awareness to know that about yourself.
And that I'm glad you brought that up because there, as boundaries, like I'm in this shift in my life right now where I do have to set boundaries with certain friends. And it sucks because I know like certain activities drain me. And it's like right now I'm in this point where like I'm very focused on what I want to do. So like I've had to create that line in the sand where I'm like, okay, I know I probably shouldn't do this, but I don't like, not right now. Maybe like later I can go back to this, but right now it's just not serving me. So
Right.
I have
Right.
to step back, and also like people that are my friends will kind of understand, maybe to a point, but they'll be like, okay, they understand. Right now he's doing his thing, he's flowing. We're gonna let that happen.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And for real, man, if they're your friends, they gonna understand, man, and they're gonna ride for you, and they're gonna be like, you know what, my man Adrian or my man Just, he's doing his thing right now. He might be distant, but it's all good. When he comes back, it's all love. You know. Yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's also a fine line as well, because I know for me, and I think a big part of this is my personality, but I know being an empath has something to do with it, where I tend to be a loner at times, where I have to on purpose withdraw myself and just be alone to sort of decompress and find my not find my balance, but keep balanced. You know what I mean? And I find that now, like even getting older, and the more that I guess I'm learning about being an empath, and learning about setting boundaries and things of that nature, I find that I have to do that more on a routine now, versus more so being sporadic before. So yeah, have you ever experienced anything like that?
Yeah, I've gone through the point because I am an extrovert, so I do get energized by hanging out with people. But certain people like energize me. Certain people don't energize me. So I'm kind of learning like what energizes me and what doesn't. But in general, like because of quarantine and COVID, I have learned that I love my alone time, and I really like doing things by myself, being alone.
Yeah.
Finding that balance because now like it's this point where I'm too alone, or like, I don't want to do anything. I'm really like a just hanging out by myself. So I'm like I gotta find that balance where I don't always do that. But I definitely learned to love it. Like I love taking myself out to lunch, or I love, going to the park with myself and just being with my thoughts and like we're being present or whatever it is. And a lot of times like you can't really do that with like when you're hanging out with a lot of people. Um, and then I'll ask you this. I don't know if this is an empath thing or just
Yeah, what's up, bro?
ENFP thing, but I like
NFP. Oh man, you bringing in Myers Briggs now,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, and so I really like having deep conversations with people, and I like going to the deep depths of like of who they are and who I and kind of like having those deep conversations. And I find that not everyone is like that. Having those conversations, or not everyone has the capacity to do that. I think I'm not sure what it is, but
Right.
I find myself really like if I find someone that is like this, I like connect with them instantly and like we're like
Yeah.
go to the space together and talk about whatever it is.
Well, that's how me and you kind of hit it off when we started rapping, man. So yeah, I get you. I feel you.
Yeah. So do you also have that same thing too, like where you have that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm very philosophical, bro. I'm so talking Myers Briggs. I'm an INFJ. So yeah, exactly. So, but with mine, we're like the lowest percentage within all of the Myers Briggs personalities. And then also throwing the fact that I'm a Sagittarius. So I'm a philosopher, deep thinker all around. Like my mind just naturally goes there. And sometimes it gets on my nerves. I don't mean to, but it just is. It's expansive, and I can't help it. And I've always been like that since I was a kid. Um, but it served a good purpose though, because it helped me to get to a lot of dark times. Because like I say, going back to when you get to certain the end of yourself. And when I say the end of yourself, like the end of previous versions of yourself, you have to have that ability to expand your awareness. And I think that's what helped to, keep me in line.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what I take myself to the next level is having that consciousness, having those thoughts of like, is this it? Or like, is there a different way? Or is there a different route? Or can I find out more about myself? I think having these introspection questions allowed me to go deeper and deeper. And
Yeah.
now I have this awareness that I never had. Like, I check in with myself throughout the day. Like I stop and I breathe and I check in with my body. I check in with my breath. And I actually don't struggle with anxiety anymore. And
Mm,
it allowed me to have this awareness to where before anxiety, I would get panic attacks
yeah.
from not checking in with myself, not having that awareness, not having these tools, techniques that I have now. So now it's allowed me. I haven't had anxiety attack in like two years now or more.
That's awesome, bro.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah, and now like I can help people with their anxiety and do that kind of stuff. So like it's really cool to it's a big gift and a big blessing to be able to like not just for myself but be of service to others because of the deep rooted work and that deep awareness that I've had and just yeah and obviously like you and I both know that it's going to keep getting better
Right.
as we go deeper because we're going to get more awareness and like kind of learn more and we're going to keep learning. We're learning
Mm.
from each other right now. We're going to come out of this conversation with like, oh shit, I know something else now.
Right, exactly. I was actually gonna go back, man, because you had made an interesting point about being an extrovert, and that ties into what we were previously talking about, is how you can have the same gift, but you can function differently, right? So, being an empath, right? Okay, we know that if you're around somebody who's feeling sad, they don't have to say what it is. You're naturally just going to pick up on it and you're going to know. You're going to be able to feel it, right? So you being an extrovert, I'm pretty sure, and this is just my assumptions, okay, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure as an extrovert, you can be in those types of environments for an extended amount of time without feeling the need to recharge, because an extrovert gains their energy from being connected to people versus somebody like me being so this thing, I'm an introvert, but I could be an introverted extrovert as well. And that's the INFJ part of me. That's that weird part where you want to be around people, but you don't want to be around people at the same time. But I dominantly go towards being an introvert. Okay, I know I'm saying a lot, but just I'm going somewhere. So being an introvert for me and an empath is different, because I can be around you for a while and like help if the doors open up for me to help you or assist you or whatever it is. Um, I can't stay like too much longer, because I have this freaking switch that just turns off and on. And when it turns off, it's like, okay, I'm drained. I gotta go like now. You know what I'm saying? Versus an extrovert, somebody like you who, obviously you might have a higher capacity than I do in those type of environments.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that, and I think I'm learning this about myself, and there's a spectrum of it. Like I am an extrovert, but also I do tend to get introverted at times as well. So I don't
Right.
think it's like one or the other, but there's a spectrum. But yeah, definitely like people, if anyone that knows me, they're like, yeah, you're an extrovert for sure. But
Mhm.
to my point is, I could be wrong in situations, but there are times when someone that has too strong of an energy, and whether it's one side negative, like, or some energy that's too strong, that does drain me. It just depends on on what they're giving out, but yeah, for the most part, yeah, like if I'm around a lot of people, and I feel like someone's sad or whatever, like, and I kind of tell myself mentally, like, should I take this on? It's like, do I have the capacity to do this right now? Because
Man,
usually, if I could take it on, I kind of try to help them, like in a and like not so like endearing way, but like kind of try, hey, like what's going on? Like sometimes people just want someone to talk to or to listen to them, and that's
yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
Like being there for them in that way, showing up for them in this way, like, hey, what's going on? Like, and like, wow, no one's asked me this all day. Like, you really want to hear? Like, yeah, talk to me. And that's all I'm going to do for that day. And I know this is how I'm going to show up for this person today, and that's it. But sometimes there's people that um I talk to and I keep talking to them and I keep saying the same thing and nothing's really happening. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not taking this on. This person isn't ready to receive yet. Or there's times when I just want to turn it off in general. I'm just like, I just want to be surface level today and not do it. So I kind of like have to know my boundaries and what capacity I have to deal with it in this way. But yeah, it's very interesting, that thing. But also the biggest thing now is I'm learning is my environment is everything. So maybe if like I can hang out with people in certain communities and I won't feel drained at all, and actually feel like empowered by them, and because their energy is so high that it actually feeds mine, and I absorb their energy, and it's like holy crap! Like I'm in this, the different kinds of communities I'm in, and when I'm in certain communities, like the wellness communities and like that kind of consciousness communities, I freaking like I go home like energized, motivated, like I'm on top of the world right now. Like I want to hang out with them again.
right. Yeah, and that's how it should be, man. That's how it should be because we're all feeding off of each other, man. And I mean, just sitting here talking to you, listening to you, vibing with you. Look, man, I'm getting charged up right now. And I'm pretty sure the people who are listening out there, I'm pretty sure they're getting a taste of this energy too, man. So that's what's up. That's
It
definitely
is
what's up.
contagious. It is very contagious. People are saying
Yeah.
like energy, you can feel, even through like videos or whatever, like people could feel it, like the inspiration or whatever the frequency that you give off. The
Yeah.
waves will pass through the technology, and it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I had got this thought as you were talking, and just shifting gears a little bit, um, and learning how to like be an empath. One of the hardest things for me was actually absorb, not absorbing, but observing the emotions as they rise up. Right. Because think of it like this, bro. Like, if we're dealing with all of the emotions on the spectrum, it's like think of like different levels of emotions, and like the lowest of the low is your anguish and grief and sadness, and then you work up to courage and satisfaction, love, and there's just different levels to this, right? So in my experience and learning how to allow emotions to pass through so that I can somewhat understand them more and like understand where they're coming from, I guess. The hardest part has been just observing the emotions and allowing yourself to feel them, because some of those emotions don't feel good, bro. They don't feel good at all. So to like be able to sit through them as you're experiencing them. And keyword, I say experience because I think we identify with emotions to the point where we think that they are us, but they're really not. Matter of fact, nobody's emotions are truly them. They're just something that they're experiencing, at least from what I've come to understand. Which also brings you to a higher plane of awareness, of self-awareness about yourself, because you realize that I'm the I am who's experiencing this temporary emotion until it passes through. But going back to what I was saying about the observing the emotion and still, you know, being present enough to do what's required of you in that specific situation while you're experiencing that emotion. that could be a tough feat right there.
So I'm glad you brought this up because something that I personally have struggled with lately was um, I am a love and light kind of person. So, I love feeling positive emotions, but I realized that when I have these negative emotions, I tend to push them out. Like for sadness, for example, I have sad events happen to me. And I kind of just like pivot to like reframing it and like, okay, move on to love and light kind of thing. But what was going on was I started realizing that the sadness didn't go anywhere. It just kind of stayed and it kind of like it put itself in a different part of my body where like I felt it and like I really didn't allow myself to sit with these emotions. But that was part of my practice too. Like I realized, okay, like sadness, not feeling sadness isn't good either. Like I have to allow myself to kind of, because I'm blocking the flow and not letting myself feel sadness is not doing myself a favor. So I finally sat with myself and I just like, okay, let it happen. And I just like felt the sadness, got emotional, started crying, like whatever happened. And then after that, I felt so empowered. I was like, oh wow, like I let it happen. Like I let myself feel the emotions of it and really just sit with it. And then it wasn't really there anymore afterwards because I already gave it space. I gave it air and I let it not like let it go, but yeah, kind of like let it go. So now like I know like when I feel sadness, sit with it and like really tend to it and like not don't get caught up with it because like you said I am not sadness. Then I know that, but I'm a human that experiences sadness and I should allow myself to experience and not block that flow of it.
Right, right. It's like why would you block feeling happy? Why would you block that experience? You know what I mean? So it's all the same thing. But yeah, we can go deal with this, bro. We can go deal with this. But
And then that's like different, right? Different, like oh, because I feel sadness deeper than someone else does. That's
right,
why I know I didn't want to go there. But now it's like I'm not afraid of sadness anymore.
right. Yeah, yeah. You got a higher capacity for it, and a more self awareness of yourself to manage it too. Bro, you had when you had said that a lot of us don't like to deal with our emotions and experience our emotions and sit with our emotions. I 100% agree with you, okay? Because once again, a lot of that stems from our background and our programming, right? So I know I spoke on mine a little bit earlier where I told you I grew up, in church and, very religious background and things of that nature, going to private school and all of that good stuff. And one of the things that you're taught from a young age is that you have to deny yourself, right? You have to deny yourself and carry your cross and things of that nature. I find that was a crutch for me because I learned that I had to deny the very things that made me human, deny the very things that were part of the experience that I'm here to experience, right? And so when you don't deal with your emotions and when you don't deal with the wounds and things like that, it just stays there and it stays stagnant. And of course it's going to manifest in different areas of your life and things like that. For me, of course, it was anxiety. You had spoke about panic attacks and things like that. Bro, I had panic attacks like crazy during my teenage years. But the crazy thing about it was that I didn't know that those were panic attacks that I was experiencing until, of course, later on I came into the knowledge and I was like, yo, you mean that was what I was going, you know what I mean? But bro, you just keep navigating, man. And yeah, you get to the point where, you grow through it and, you're where you need to be.
Exactly. And one thing I did want to add to this is now I'm at the point where, I'm able to, I guess, be a lighthouse to others. And
Mm,
through my conversations with people or through like the content I create or the person that I am, I've actually have seen a number of males that have came to me and be like, hey, you know what, like I'm learning to get in touch with my emotions too, or like I'm learning this and the kind of like things that they wouldn't say normally like in a party, but they'll tell me like, hey, like I'm learning how to get in tune with it, or I'm checking in with myself, or I'm doing yoga, or I'm doing meditation, and or I'm breathing, and then like just things are like, I think in this space of being what it is to be masculine, or what society thinks is masculine, it's being like questioned, like, okay, like if that's what I think as males we have the most anger issues, we have the most like
Oh, facts.
toxic masculinity and all that,
Facts.
and I'm
Facts.
I'm like trying to go against that norm on myself, because that's like I've actually never felt more of a man. I've never felt more empowered. I've never felt more masculine in myself than I do
Mm,
now. And it's other people are seeing that in myself, and they're like, wow, this guy has a lot of confidence now, or this guy knows who he is, or he's comfortable in his skin. And then they're exploring what they can do for that. You don't have to be an empath to be in touch with your emotions. Anyone could do that. And that's
and
what is my thing now, is like re-questioning what it is to be a man. Like what, like, having that toxic masculinity and all that, that's not serving us. That is not serving us or our whole society. It's not serving women, not serving kids. It's actually toxic for everyone. So,
yeah,
and that's kind of reconstructing what it is to be a man. And that's kind of the kind of work that I want to start doing, is questioning, like, okay, like, who's to say what's masculine, what's not, or what's toxic masculinity, or what constitutes all of this, because like I said, it's not serving us. And
right.
men have the highest suicide rates, men have the most like alcohol, drug, all this stuff, incarceration rates, all this stuff, because we don't know how to work with our emotions, we don't know how to deal with them, so we act out. We'll behave in different ways, we'll do different things because society says you're a man, you have to be angry, you do this, like it's okay if you're angry. So I think that is like the next biggest thing for me, like as someone who's very in tune with his emotions,
Mm,
and also the awareness of other people's emotions, and I
right.
kind of like serve as that, I guess, like I said, that lighthouse to others, to be like,
Mm,
hey, it's okay to check in with yourself, to check in with your emotions. Like, I'm
right.
still man. I'm still, I'm still me. Like,
Still me, yeah. Still me, yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
you still empower yourself. Like, I don't care. Like, what are you gonna say? Like, hey, you're really happy. Like, what are you gonna say? Like,
Yeah, yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. You always gotta check in with yourself, bro. I do it like it's nothing, bro. Naturally, I think just every day I'm starting to learn, just being more present during the day. You know, um, funny, I had got it with our boy Zach yesterday,
yeah,
and we were talking about Alan Watts. You heard of Alan Watts?
yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So Alan Watts had said something that I will never forget about success. And he said that the true definition of success is the number of times that you're able to be present during the day, right? And so that hit me like a ton of bricks because naturally, your mind is either focused on something in the past or you're thinking about something you need to do in the future or worried about something in the future, right? But you're never focused on what's going on right now. So that right there is sort of like an anchor for me where I've learned how to, I guess, uh, not just checking with myself, but I've even learned how to be aware of myself if I'm feeling off. And I'm more aware of it quicker versus like letting it fester. And when I feel myself getting off, because we're all going to get off at some point, bro. Like we're living in a universe of polarity, right? So you're going to go in and out. That's just the flow of life. But when you operate with that level of awareness, you're quicker to spot it and push yourself back in alignment,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where, like, for me, my practices that I do, yoga and meditation, that all is
Right.
about mind-body connection with the breath, and
Yeah.
really grounding yourself and anchoring yourself to the present moment. So
Mm,
what I learned on the mat, I take off the mat, and I'm like, that's how I know to really breathe and to be present. And yeah, because the past is like depression, and the future is anxiety. So I don't want to be in either of those states, and I want to be here right now, where I can control what's going on. I know what's going on right here and right now.
right here and right now. And man, just to throw that out there for our listeners, my man Adrian over here is a phenomenal yoga instructor. He conducted a Zoom a Zoom yoga class. Bro, you had me in my workout room sweating, and I had dog. That was a workout, man. That was a good ass workout, bro. And granted, I think that was maybe like my second time doing yoga. I don't, I've been meaning to learn more about yoga, but that was like, honestly, I'm a beginner, bro. So yeah, you had me over here getting a good workout in, bro.
Really happy to have you. And I'm asking about that. Like, well, thanks for coming. It was nice to have you. How was it for you, like, to check in with you? Because like I do a lot of mindfulness and like mindfulness cues and kind of like philosophy in it as we're going. So I guess how was that for you, like that checking in with yourself in that way and like that mind body awareness?
Oh man, it was awesome because I meditate anyway. So like for me, doing the yoga, all that did was add another dimension to my meditations, right? Honestly, I couldn't really, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't that mindful during this last session only because my mind was focused on listening to you and, not trying to look like an asshole in front of y'all, because I'm all over the place and stuff like, you know what I mean? And messing y'all up and things of that nature. But yeah, it was, as I'm learning it and as I keep going, I know that it's going to help me to add another dimension to my meditation. So yeah.
And yeah, you're right. When I first started doing it, I'm practicing for a while now, and it took me a while to learn, like, because at first you're like, the hell's going on? But there's a point where like you start to like begin to close your eyes, and then you could just, what the instructor is saying, and you could just follow, or you could just flow on your own. And that's like where it becomes movement meditation. And but right now, yeah, when you're learning, it's a little hard, but have, compassion for yourself and be like, okay, I'm learning. And it's like have that. But yeah, man, I'm really glad you liked it.
Yeah, but the awesome thing though, that I've been learning, and I've even, believe it or not, I even applied more of it after your yoga class, right? But when I work out, I'm learning that you can actually shift your awareness to being inside of your body. It's sort of like when I'm working out, I'm not working out from like an external standpoint where I am my body, right? I'm working out I'm experiencing the workout, or I'm experiencing my body, and my body just begins to flow naturally. I hope I'm explaining this right, bro.
Yeah,
this is the first time.
I get it. It's like being more embodied in yourself, and that's what this practice you do. And yeah, because I also lift weights, and once I started doing yoga and lifting weights, I was like, holy crap! Like I'm actually inhaling and exhaling. I can feel my muscles contract, and it started really changing the way I thought and being more mindful while I'm working out. Like a lot of times when you're working out, it's very like repetitive, and you can easily be everywhere. Like your mind could be floating. You could be texting while you're working out and doing all this stuff. But I'm learning more to be more embodied in any kind of thing I'm doing, and that's what yoga. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. Yeah, because yoga does allow you to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, bro, we can go in so many different directions with this conversation, but like if you really want to go to another level, one thing that your yoga class and working out and more mindfulness has done for me is it's made me more in tune with the frequencies on the other side, where you're more in tune with what they're saying to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It like heightens your awareness to that level, bro. You know what I mean? Like, sort of like you feel your guides and your spirit guides and your angels around you, and you just have more of an awareness, like you're more in tune with what's going on over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that I think yoga helped me out discover my higher self.
Right.
That voice that was always there, and I just wasn't, there was too much distraction, too much fog going on, and I really wasn't allowing myself to feel that. And then yoga just allowed me to do that. And so I definitely resonate with that. And you just had one class?
I'm a fast learner, bro. And that's the thing. And that's the thing, like we talked about earlier, bro, my mind just goes there. Like once I have an experience, you know, I'm like, wow, this was awesome. Like, what can I take from that? And this is the lesson I learned. And then I'm like, man, I can apply it to this. And then I experience it. And it's like, wow, you know, so one class, man, yeah, it helped. So I'll be back.
You know what's funny is I just started teaching.
Hey, keep teaching.
So like, yeah, I just started teaching, and I feel like it's where obviously I'm still learning, but I feel like I really connected with it. I'm in the flow of it, and I could just really connect with it, and maybe guide people. And it's really weird. Before, like when I had social anxiety, I would never thought to be doing this ever.
Yeah.
So now it's like,
and now
there's space for that. I now see I can serve others in this way.
right, exactly. Yeah, we've touched on a lot tonight, bro. How long have we been going now, man? What's the time looking like? How you looking over there?
6. So what time do we start? We have like 40 minutes. We done?
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, man, I wasn't sure how much time you had tonight, bro.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good too. You good? I'm good, bro. Yeah. All right, cool. So I told you I was going to send you some information about a grounding technique. And I'm sorry, I hadn't sent it to you yet. But it was from this alchemy training academy, or something like that. But part of the technique is, I think I explained to you the roles concept, the roles, right? So, and going back to our conversation about how we set boundaries with people so that we can tell, okay, this is me and this is them. So I'm not absorbing and getting caught up in all that crap. The roles technique. So what this guy was teaching was that in front, all around you, like if we were to like put our arm in front of us, right, and to the sides of us, he was saying that's how far out that our aura and our energy body expands around us, right? So he said whenever you're in contact with somebody or you're interacting with somebody, that to always picture a rose in front of you, at the length of your arm, where your arm ends and where your energy body stops, right? That's your rose. That's your anchor. Anything beyond that rose is Shakespeare's theater, meaning that it's part of the experience of what's going on outside of you, right? But anything in front of that rose to you is you. So you have control over that domain, over that space, right? And that is your boundary. That's where you stay grounded. But anything beyond that rose is Shakespeare's theater, and that's just a part of the show. So that principle right there has really revolutionized my ability to be an empath, because it helped me not to absorb so much of other emotions that were outside of me, you know, and it also helped me to determine this part is me and this part ain't me, you know. Yeah. Right. And here's what I'll do. I'll also send you the link so we can post it on YouTube and the summary as well, in case people want to find it, bro. Yeah, bro.
That's the biggest thing I learned, is like having these tools and techniques to use. I think anyone can use different tools and techniques. It's just knowing how to use them. So like now I have a toolbox of techniques that I use, and like I kind of know when to use them in different situations, like for difficult emotions, or to shake off energy, or to ground myself, or to hold space for someone, or whatever it is that I'm working through. And I never had this toolbox before, and I keep building in it, and I keep like, sometimes I have to go on there, find a wrench, okay, what am I going to use today, and like how am I going to use it? And that's the biggest part, is knowing when to use them, obviously, because you can keep learning, but you got to actually apply them. But that's right. Yeah, so that's a good one. I'll be adding to my toolbox.
And you might need to apply them differently too, bro, depending on the situation. But hold up, though. Let's not end, though, because you actually had a good one too that you told me about, that rain technique.
Oh yeah, that one's really powerful.
Yeah. Tell us about the rain, bro.
Yeah, so the rain is from Tara Bach. She's a meditation teacher. That one's really good. It's how to work with difficult emotions. So RAIN technique, the RAIN stands for recognize, allow, identify, and nurture. So we'll do a difficult emotion. We'll say like what like my ice cream fell on the floor. So I have an ice cream and I'm feeling sad, you know. So I'm like, man, this sucks. This is sad. So I do the RAIN technique. So I'm like, okay, I recognize what's going on. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling angry, maybe feeling hungry, and like
Yeah.
satisfied. Kind of, but I say the worst one is I'm feeling angry at myself. So I kind of sit with it, and instead of like running with the anger, I just allow myself to sit with the anger. So kind of recognizing the anger and then allowing it to be there and to sit with it, and whatever that means, like being with it, like tending to it, and then I investigate. Is the next
Mhm.
thing. So investigate like why am I angry? Like where is this anger coming from? Like okay, well I'm angry because I dropped the ice cream. That okay, that makes sense. Like yeah, I would get angry myself, but hey, like I just kind of identify like why like how why did you drop it? Like were you being clumsy or did it was an accident? Like can you buy another ice cream or whatever? You kind of just explore it.
Yeah.
You kind of and then non or nurturing means like you kind of tend to that emotion and you're like hey you know what yeah I get it like it sucks you lost your ice cream and like you lost money it happens it's okay for you to feel this way you're not anger you're just a human that's having these emotions and it's okay and
Yeah.
that obviously that's like a very like surface level thing but when you're working with this with difficult emotions like deep rooted emotions things that you don't want to feel the things that you've been hurt or things really really bad and you do all those tools, like especially the last one, nurturing. That's the most
Mhm.
important one. That's the one where you're like, you really have compassion and empathy for yourself. You really sit with yourself and be like,
Bro, we're not taught that, man.
no, no. So I
Taught that empathy.
personally have used it, and it has
Yeah.
gotten me through some really tough times during this
Mm.
whole pandemic. I kind of learned it like maybe a while ago, but we've been having a lot of difficult emotions, and I've I've learned how to recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture it.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
it's not like it doesn't make it go away. It just changes my relationship with the emotions, and it's really powerful, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, as you were talking, I was thinking about my own experience of when you're experiencing the emotions and when you're dealing with deep rooted emotions and wounds that present themselves, right? Um, it's not just a one time deal where you experience those emotions and then they go away and that's it. I've actually experienced it where those emotions come in, excuse me, my throat's getting kind of parched. Those emotions come in different waves, bro. You know what I mean? Like you'll have like waves of, those different emotions that are deeply rooted in you where, you might be okay one day and then you're over it for another couple of days and then it comes right back after that, so you have to you have to be patient with yourself, and I think that's great because just like you say, you have to learn how to nurture yourself through the process. And there's a concept that we've heard of called doing the inner child work, talking to that inner child. That's actually a big thing. And I think that what we're talking about is along those lines. Um, yeah, we.
So I'm laughing because I'm working with a spiritual guide right now
There you
to
go.
help me. And actually, I had my first session yesterday, and this is to help me reconnect with my inner child.
Mm,
And something that was new to me because I'm someone that was like, yeah, I had a good childhood. I didn't have any problems growing up. But then like we have to really look back at it, and everyone has trauma, whether it
buddy.
doesn't matter if it's not like what we
Yeah.
perceive as like horrible trauma or whatever, but we all have things we were told when we were young that really affected who we are, and these cycles
Mm,
come. So I actually like it's so synchronistic that you told me because like this morning
absolutely.
I did some work with my inner child, and as I was journaling and meditating, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I do need to work. I was like, oh shit, like things were uncovering as I was writing,
Yeah.
and then like emotions came up. I was like, oh crap, I'm like I do need to do some work with my inner child. And I was like, I had
Mm,
this moment of just like awe and like almost like surrender and almost like nurturing, because I had like these flashbacks of just me being a child and who I was. And this,
Right.
what was crazy is that me as a child, I was, very happy. I was loving, caring. I love to make other people happy. And I was like, I've always been like a light worker, even as a child. Like I really wanted to like bring in this light. And then the world happened, and I started getting anxiety and fear. And then that child that was like always happy kind of like diminished, and like his shine kind of went away as he grew up. And then it manifests to what happened at my early 20s, and then the inner child is coming back again. So it was so there's definitely work to that. And this is coming from someone that was like, I don't know what inner child work, I don't need to do this, but then I'm actually doing the work now, and it's incredible. I'm like, oh wow, I have a lot of work to do with this inner child. So it's funny that you say that.
Yeah, man. That is funny. Very synchronistic, bro. Very much so. Yeah, that inner child work, it's man, I think inner child work, honestly, bro, I think that might be like a lifetime deal, man, because you're constantly having to like deal with certain things that rise up, right? Like, I don't think that you're ever 100% set free from your demons, so to speak, if that's what you want to call them. But I think that you just learn to live above your demons. You learn to accept your demons. And I think in some cases, in my cases, actually, bro, and this might sound crazy, but I've learned to make my demons my friends and tell them what I want them to do, instead of, the other way around. You no longer control me. I now need to control you. So perhaps part of me controlling you means that I need to look at you differently and see you for what you are.
And there's actually a term, like actually what I'm doing with the inner child work, it's called shadow work. So shadow
Yep.
work, it's the polarity of yourself. So yeah, like you said, it's not inner demons, it's the shadow self, which means it's like the other part of your psyche that it's there, but we don't really, it's not really like, we don't put light to it, because there's like the light and the darkness within us,
Yeah.
the good and the
We don't
bad.
want to look at it. It's the
Yeah.
shadow. You don't want to look at it.
Oh yeah, it's shadow. So we hide it, and like we put it.
Hide
Now what I'm doing is I'm gonna face the shadow and not kind
Yeah.
of dance with it and like befriend it and be like, hey, like what's going on? Like let's hang out.
Yeah. Man, talking about shadow work, bro, I had I watch a lot of YouTube videos and, a lot of conscious type of, content, the things that we're talking about. And I was listening to this one guy talk about his ayahuasca trip. And he was saying that on his trip, he had to face his shadow or his ego, right? And he said that when he was in that dimension, when he was there, that there was just this thick, like smoke, almost like a fiery, dark smoke, right? And every time every time he like got upset, the smoke would get upset and rage, right? And it would be more thick and almost like it's just smoldering, you like can't breathe type of stuff. And when he would calm down, the smoke would calm down, right? So, he basically learned that was him. That was shadow self. And when he finally saw it for what it was and was able to observe it, it's sort of like your shadow wants attention. It's sort of like that, that freaking rejected child who you threw out, but all you got to do is give them love and attention and, they'll be right back. Well, I think that's kind of how your shadow works to a degree. But anyway, the guy gave it the attention, and before you know it, it was transformed into, I don't know, maybe like a beam of light or something like that, But yeah, that shadow work is a trip, bro.
Yeah, I'm just getting into it. I didn't know what it was, but it like called to me, and I was like, let's do it. So I'll keep you posted on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Please do, man. Interesting journey. You should start talking about that too, bro, because I think a lot of people need to do that shadow work, bro.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it's something that I really didn't know if I wanted to talk about, but I have talked about it with some of my friends, and I realized a lot of my friends have been doing shadow work. Like, they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, shadow work. I'm like, oh, you're gonna have some fun. They're like, well, not really. It's gonna be tough, but at the end of it, you're gonna be good. And I was like, wait, this is like, I didn't know what it was before, and then somehow
Right.
like coming up with conversation. So, yeah, I think there is definitely like like I said, there's a polarity in all of us. So
Absolutely.
there is chance for all of us to work with the shadow self. And yeah,
Mm.
that I mean we'll see how my journey goes, but definitely like
Yeah,
excited
yeah,
for it.
yeah, yeah. Well, we know your journey's going to be successful, bro. Matter of fact, it's already successful because, we're in time, but we above time. So you already there, brother. I already see it. Facts, facts. Yeah, man. Well, bro, I think this conversation was excellent, man. We've been hitting on a lot of gems so far, bro.
Yeah, likewise, like we're just flowing, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We got to make sure we do this again real soon, man. And maybe, like I said, I'm gonna order that book that you put me on to the Melanin Empath, and maybe see what comments we get off of this discussion and see what people want to see. But I think that would be something that would be very interesting to talk about, bro.
Like
Yeah.
the conversation can go anywhere with us, right?
Yeah, 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 man. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, bro. Well, it's like 11. I'm at 11:11 right now, bro. That's the time over there. 11:11. Yeah.
That's
Hey, look, bro. I was about to say let's get off and let's call it a wrap, bro. But seeing 11:11 actually brings another topic of discussion to mind. How familiar are you with angel numbers?
oh man, they've honestly been happening to me right now a lot.
That's awesome, bro. So which ones have you been seeing?
444, 1111, 333.
Yeah, 444. That was the main one that I was seeing when I started to awaken. 444 was a big one for me because I remember for like 5 days straight, bro, I'm not lying to you. Okay. Everything I'm telling you is factual, right? For 5 days straight, I would wake up and look at my clock and it would say 4:44 a.m. in the morning, right? I would just naturally just wake up and I would look and it would be 4:44. So when I started seeing that, I was like, okay, it must definitely be some hidden messages or some patterns or something that I need to tap into. So, of course, going through your experience and going around your daily routine, driving around, seeing license plates and things of that nature, and numbers on signs that I never paid attention to, but all of a sudden seeing 555, 888, 77, all these different patterns of numbers, bro. So of course, yeah, you start digging into it and you start learning, about the frequencies and things of that nature. So is that what you've been doing?
Well, I actually didn't realize that. Well, I mean, I knew I saw these numbers, but I didn't know that it's the same numbers. But I haven't looked into what these numbers mean, which now I'm gonna do. But
Yeah.
I was like, wait, it's the same numbers that are happening to me, and yeah, I guess the frequency. Yeah, so you just opened something up to me now. I have to go
Which
check out
ones? Which you said 444? You said which ones?
111, and then 323.
333. Okay, 444. I know 444 is like a big number of support, and just your angels being around you, just to encourage you and things to that nature. 111, 333. I can't recall those off the top of my head. I want to say 333 might have something to do with creativity
Oh,
and I know it has something to do with like your ascended masters being around you, like people like Yeshua or Jesus and
yeah.
um, people on that frequency range.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, yeah.
I
Usually,
have homework now.
yeah. Look into it, man, and it's actually a science called numerology that you can look into. And some people term the coin angel numbers and things of that nature. But just to give you a background, bro. So the way that angel numbers and things like that work is and the numbers are represented more so as an archetype, a symbol more so than what we use numbers for, which is to count. We use 1 through 10. We count from 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. We use numbers to add things to that nature. Well, the universe uses numbers as well, because the universe, you looking at different theories and things of that nature. They say the universe is really all numbers coming from sacred geometry. It's a matrix. It's a computer. It's made up of zeros and ones. There's so many different ways that people say the same thing, right? So the thing about it is that the universe communicates to you through numbers. Another idea is that your angels communicate to you through putting numbers in front of you, because their voices are so pure and on a higher frequency that our physical ears, of course, of this vehicle can't hear it, because these are part of the third dimension. But for their voices that are so pure, your spiritual ears might not be developed enough to hear it, so they communicate to you through what you can understand, which is numbers. So numbers, going back to what they represent, are more so symbolisms of certain frequencies. So if you see patterns of fours have a certain frequency of information that that specific number is trying to give you for that specific moment of time that you are observing that number. Does that make sense? So right now, if it was right now, this particular moment, and you were to see 555, that frequency of message, which for fives, it usually represents change, like a positive change coming or a different change coming that you might need to embrace, time shift change or things of that nature. That message is for you for that specific time moment that you are observing it. So you might later on, 5 minutes later, see 888, and you're like, whoa, I just saw 333. Well, that 888 is for you right now. That 888 is a number of abundance. It's a number of infinite inflow and outflow, because you turn the 8 sideways, it represents the infinity sign. So yeah, bro, numbers is a whole different a whole different beast to venture into, bro.
You just opened up a new thing for me. I've seen them, and I've kind of like have, fiddled with it here and there, but I really didn't know it was a thing. So I'm gonna look into it now. Wow.
Yeah, check it out. Well, that's good, because like I said, man, I saw 1111. I was like, all right, I'm about to go ahead and sign off. But then at 1111, that's a big number, because a lot of people who are awakening are seeing 1111.
So what does that mean for this conversation?
So 1111, from what I understood, so even looking at the numbers 11, right, seeing 4 lines that are straight up, to me, it represents like a gate or a doorway, so to speak, right? And so for me, it represented, I was seeing that when I started to get in tune with that there were things beyond my normal state of awareness that I started to get aware of, right? So that's when I started getting in tune with like the numbers and seeing them and things like that. So 1111 to me represented a doorway of awakening and an opportunity for me to bring my awareness to another plane, so to speak. So yeah, 1111 to me, I guess if I can simplify it, it means awakening. It means we're here. It means yes, you found us. You and if you're in the matrix, it means you took what's it, the red pill? You took the red pill.
That maybe someone else listening might be awakening here in this conversation.
Yeah, because somebody's been seeing 1111. So, matter of fact, if you've been seeing 1111 and you're listening this far in, I want y'all to respond with 1111 and let us know. And maybe what we'll do is maybe we'll do a video talking about numbers and things of that nature, bro. Because yeah, like it's crazy, because I'm so deep into it where. Bro, listen, let me preface what I'm about to tell you like this. Every time, if I ever tell you a story, I'm not making anything up, and it's facts. Everything that I say literally happens, okay? Yeah. So I'm at the point where when I wake up, you know how when you have that space between when you're fully awake versus when you're still kind of asleep, you're in that in-between state. So there's like a very quick window where I will literally see flashes of numbers real quick, and I'll wake up, right? And that'll be like my message for the day, So whatever that number is, that'll just be something that I'll look into, and I'll be like, okay, that's what y'all are telling me today. The universe has a lot to say when you learn to listen, bro.
Awareness. Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I can even send you, I have some information I can send you. It's this lady, her name is Joanne something. Joanne, I forget, but she's a blogger who has, bro, like buku information on angel numbers, man. So I'll definitely send that information your way. Yeah. Yeah. All right, bro. Well, I guess, man, I guess we can go ahead and call it a wrap, man. I think we hit on a lot tonight. I think we gave the listeners a lot to listen to, and you definitely gave me a lot to think about, brother. And you know how we usually do, back and forth, man. So this is a great experience.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. It's really good. I love the flow, and I got homework now to myself, so I learned a lot.
We both do, man. And look, my homework is I'm gonna make sure I stretch before our next yoga class, man. That's my homework. Be over here with a busted back messing with you, dog.
That's so funny. So glad to have you, man. Thank you for coming for that class. Appreciate
Likewise, man. Let's make sure we get it in again, okay? Real soon, bro.
it. Alrighty, man. Have a good one.
You too, man.